Today is Tuesday, January 9th, 2018, and I will begin with council information and follow-up requests. Does anybody want to start their district reports? Councilman Waring, would you like to start? We'll just go down the row.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Anybody else? Councilwoman Williams?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I want to remind everybody that Saturday, June 20th, from 2 to 4 p.m., the ASU Deer Valley Petroglyph Preserve, which used to be the Rock Art Museum at 3711 West Deer Valley Road, is having its grand reopening. So I hope everybody can come participate. It's been a hidden jewel, even though it's a point of pride for the city of Phoenix. And we just remodeled and have new exhibits, so please come. And then Saturday, January 27th, from 8:30 to 12:30, a shred-a-thon and a drug take-back at Deer Valley Community Center. So it's a good time to get the old papers out and get rid of drugs that are old that's in your cabinet and bring them over there, and they are disposed of at no cost. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Williams. Anybody else have a neighborhood report? No? Oh, Councilwoman Gallego?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. A lot has certainly happened since we last met as this body. Holidays, a new year, inauguration, and we had South Phoenix's Catfish Fry. On a personal note, I was excited for my son to celebrate his first birthday and show off his skills in smashing and destroying a birthday cake. And happy to share photos if anyone wants a little entertainment after the council meeting. On a more policy-oriented note, we have 2 public meetings coming up on the South Central Light Rail line, one on Wednesday the 17th at 5:30 at 212 East Alta Vista Road, and one on Thursday the 18th at 5:30 at 1121 South 3rd Avenue, and I hope that anyone interested will join us. I also want to say thank you to the folks at Community Bridges for having me for a ride along. It was a great experience seeing the work that they do with those fighting homelessness and addiction, and certainly incredibly important as that homelessness is up in our community almost 60% over the last 2 years. So I would say, to me, our biggest social services challenge, but it was a very successful outreach trip. We had a large number of individuals who accepted services and got some good ideas about how we might make life easier for those once they accept services, because it was quite a complicated process just to get a driver's license, get the paperwork filled out to get into housing. So I think we have some good ideas, and I really appreciate Community Bridges for all the work they do in partnership with the City of Phoenix, and thank you to our Human Services staff and Police Department as well for helping on that very important work. I am looking forward to celebrating the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was assassinated amid organizing the Poor People's Campaign, and looking forward to the march in his honor kicked off in District 8. I hope to see most of you there and wish everyone a great weekend. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Other members of the council, information, follow-up requests? Vice Mayor, please.
I just want to wish everybody a Happy New Year and happy holidays, even though it's past, but it's a new year and new things begin. Thanks to everybody who attended the inauguration. It was a great moment for those that are serving, and to celebrate it with our family, constituents, and employees. The annual MLK breakfast is this Friday, and some of you don't know, but I'm co-chairing it. And so I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there and making sure that we kick off MLK. Our pop-up library, our open house, is this Saturday at Park Central. We had a soft opening, but now it's completely open, and hope to see everybody at the library. And then, sadly, but it's something that we need to speak about, it's a call to action to domestic violence. As we all know, we witnessed a horrific violence on Christmas Day, And I'm calling everybody to action to come together and figure out, not figure out, but really put more proactive measures in those that are suffering either from domestic violence or mental health. And so I have a hotline number, and if anybody needs to call it, I encourage you to do that. It's a 24/7 online chat option also. And that number is the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and it's 1-800-799-SAFE. And together, each one of us can come together and help one another. So thank you.
Thank you so very much, Vice Mayor. Want to repeat the number one more time?
1-800-799-SAFE. That's 7233.
Thank you for that important information. Other members of the council, follow-up information or requests? Councilman Valenzuela, please.
Thank you. I also want to wish everyone a happy new year. Hope everyone had safe and relaxing holidays with your friends, your family, your loved ones. And we're all very excited about this new year. I want to congratulate my colleagues, those who were sworn in at the inauguration. Start with Vice Mayor Laura Pastor. I think everyone did such a great job in their remarks, by the way. So Vice Mayor Laura Pastor, Councilman Jim Waring, Councilwoman Kate Gallego, and Councilman Sal DeCiccio. Congratulations on another term. I just did this short video, kind of fun, on Fit Phoenix. It is the new year, and many people have their New Year's resolutions, including myself. You know, let's get to the gym a little more, let's do a little more walking, whatever the case might be. But it's a timely opportunity to just talk about Fit Phoenix for just a moment. Many people don't realize that there are 47 walking trails, Walk Phoenix, Fit Phoenix walking trails throughout the entire city, spaced out throughout the city pretty evenly, and at the airport. You can find more information on tips to get healthy and stay healthy, and this is for everyone, by the way, of all ages, of all abilities. Please visit phoenix.gov/parks/FITPHX. Past Saturday, my office was able to work with hundreds of first responders, off-duty first responders, throughout the city on a very meaningful community event in Maryville, at the Cartwright School District. A few months ago, actually in October, there was a fire that took place in Maryville and right near the Cartwright School District, and part of the damage was losing Gus, the garden bus, which is something that Cartwright school students, use to learn plant life and plant cycles and the sciences behind them, and of course an opportunity just to grow fresh fruits and vegetables in a place where, technically there's a food desert. So it was needed, and when that happened in October, well, those resources went away. But Phoenix Fire Captain Austin Moreland took it upon himself, called our office, started talking with other firefighters, police officers, community leaders. Of course, we jumped in and started making some connections out there. And at the end of the day, this past Saturday, literally hundreds of off-duty firefighters, police officers, many community leaders, community members, United Way, several others came together and put a lot of work in. Everyone rolled up their sleeves and really got this community garden off to a really great start. And I just want to publicly thank once again Captain Moreland for his leadership, both on duty and off duty. And I want to thank every first responder and every community leader who came out and who invested in this garden, and by doing so invested in our youth, our kids in Maryville. So thank you for that. Tomorrow I'm looking forward to taking a tour, a bus tour throughout 19 North with our friends and our community leaders, Shannon McBride and several others that represent 19 North. They're on 19th Avenue. 19th Avenue represents the latest light rail line in Phoenix. And there's been some positive growth, and there's been some challenges. And, the community continues to stick together, working with our business leaders, our local business leaders, our neighborhood leaders, and so on. And we're excited about the great opportunities that are coming. So we're taking that bus tour together, and I'm excited about that. So if you live in the area, if you want to join us, 9 a.m. at Open Door Fellowship is where we're taking off. But and if you can't make it, or if you don't live in the area, if you have any great ideas, please just email our office. I'd love to get it out to the group, and something that we can consider moving forward. So thank you for the time.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Other members of the council? Councilman Alkowski, please.
Thank you, Mayor. And I want to tell everyone Happy New Year's, and I hope that this year is full of success, health, and that your family is very happy. And one of the things I like to do is also invite you to the community meeting at South Mountain for the light rail design. It's so important that you get involved. Many times we get calls from individuals saying, I didn't know that was going to happen, or, I think that the light rail should look like this. So these are great opportunities for you to give your input and actually see what's being planned for your neighborhood. So once again, it's next Wednesday, 5:30 to 7:30, right there at South Mountain Community Center. It's right there at Alta Vista, and it's about 2nd Street in Alta Vista. So come on down and be a part of this process. It's so important to get involved. Also, Margaret Hands Park just posted their winter fest classes, fitness classes for adults and children. So if you're interested in getting fit, if you're a kid, if you're an adult, come on down. You can look up in our Parks and Rec website to get more information. So it's just right down the street. Also, the Phoenix Library, that right there, that used to be right at Margaret Hands Park, it's getting remodeled right now. And as the Vice Mayor says, that there's going to be a grand opening of the pop-up library right there at the Park Central Mall. So come on down. Hope to see you guys out there, and come check out how our library staff has redeveloped the whole Margaret Hands Library right at Park Central Mall. Also, we like to call out all high school sophomores and juniors to participate in our Youth Ambassadors. What a great program. We have sister cities from Canada, China, Italy, Ireland, France, Mexico, Japan, Israel, Taiwan, and all kinds of countries that individuals, we do an interchange with students. So this is a great opportunity to apply for scholarships and to be a part of this program. And we're looking for those juniors and sophomores to participate. The applications are due by January 12th by 5 o'clock. So contact our sister cities office and get those applications in. Also, as you clean out your house and you look at the medicine cabinets and you look at your laundry areas and you see all these waste, hazardous waste stuff, you say, what can I do with it? Or if you're going to throw out a computer, you just don't throw it into our garbage cans. So at Cesar Chavez Park on January 19th from 7 a.m. to 12 noon, we're going to have some bins out there, and we're going to have the Phoenix Public Works out there collecting all these types of materials. So if you hesitate to throw something away because you're not sure if you can throw it away in our normal garbage cans, we'll bring it out to Cesar Chavez Park right there on 35th Avenue and Baseline, and we'll have some bins out there. Also, the Martin Luther King March that happens on Monday. Monday we celebrate Martin Luther King's Day. It's really a day on. It's about a day giving back to the community. So the city of Phoenix, we have all kinds of different projects going on, from planting trees to cleaning up neighborhoods and painting senior homes and stuff like that. So if you want to get involved, call one of our offices and we'll contact you to the right group of individuals in your area doing one of these Martin Luther King projects. And remember, it's not just a day off. It's a day about giving back and using those practices that Martin Luther King taught us and sharing with others, right? So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Other members of the council? Information, follow-up requests? All right, we'll move on to the next portion of our agenda. Is there a call for an executive session?
Mayor, in accordance with the properly posted notice and agenda, I move that the City Council, pursuant to Arizona Revised Statute, Section 38-431.02.a, meet in executive session on Tuesday, January 30th, 2018 at 1 p.m. in the East Conference Room, 12th floor of Phoenix City Hall, 200 West Washington Street, Phoenix, Arizona.
There's a motion, there's a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. There's not a consent agenda for today. I'll now turn it to our city manager. Are there any reports or budget updates today?
Mayor, we will have begin our budget process for 2018 at the next meeting on January 30th, so there is nothing today.
All right, thank you very much. We have 2 items on today's agenda. The first item concerns a recommendation for a community-wide greenhouse gas reduction goal for 2025. I assume this is both an update on our current progress and success on our existing plan, and then see if there's any changes to our goal. I think our leader on that will be Ms. Karen Peters, Deputy City Manager. I'll let you introduce everyone that is here, and then give you a presentation, and then we'll see if there's questions or comments from the members of the council.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Good afternoon. Today, we will be presenting a request for the council to set an interim goal for reducing carbon pollution and greenhouse gases in our local airshed. Mark Hartman, the city's Chief Sustainability Officer, will be presenting on the goal, along with 2 distinguished guests also here today. Lori Singleton, the interim president of Arizona Forward, is here. She is currently on loan to Arizona Forward from the Salt River Project, where she has served as the Director of Customer Programs. And also joining us today is Dave Skinner, the chairman of the board of Arizona Forward, but in his day job is the area operations manager for HDR, a very well-respected global engineering firm. So I'm very grateful for their being here today, and thank you to the council for considering this item. At this point, I will turn it over to Mark to walk us through the importance of establishing a 2025 greenhouse gas reduction goal.
Thank you, Karen, and our distinguished mayor, members of council. For the goal under consideration today is both laudable and yet achievable for a 30% reduction in greenhouse gases by 2025. That's not too far away. And to give some background, the sustainability goals in general, what they're really discussing is to really improve quality of life for everyone. So that's all neighborhoods, all people within our city, all businesses. And is there a way to do that with our science and ingenuity and investment in infrastructure to enhance nature at the same time we do that, to make nature better off as a result of us being here? So that's really the framework by which we are considering our sustainability goals. And the accomplishments to date, so this goal we're bringing forward actually is very much in line with other goals we brought forward to this council, most notably the long-term goal to be a carbon neutral city. So this very much is in alignment with that. And very interestingly, this fall, the U.S. Green Building Council awarded a leadership in energy and environmental design, a lead for cities, a new certification system for cities, which looked at sustainability, looking at our goals and accomplishments, and gave us a platinum certification, the highest possible ranking of cities. And only 2 cities have been rated under this, so we're really pleased that we received such a notable ranking. And both of these are very much in line with our general plan goals to be a sustainable desert city, and a long-term goal to be the most sustainable desert city on the planet. And many of the accomplishments we're doing, the goals we have as listed in our general plan, all moving things. We have adopted things such as the walkable urban code to increase walking and biking, and public bike share, and our Transportation 2050 that increases access to transit, and our tree and shade master plan to double our tree canopy. All these are very much in support as showing our leadership and demonstrating that. And so as we look at our 2050 goals, which are really what's our point in the horizon we're headed towards, so what's the outcomes we desire? Actually, for all of those goals that we have, or 6 of them of the 7, all have short and interim goals, and the carbon neutral city is the only one without a current short-term goal, and so that's what we're bringing forward today, is really establishing that goal to be carbon neutral. So we'll have check boxes in all of the categories for interim goals for our long-term plan. And so going forward with that, really where a 30% reduction came from is if you look at our 2012 baseline, it's 6.9 million tons of greenhouse gases or CO2 equivalent. And so that's not pounds, it's actually tons of greenhouse gas. So an 80% reduction would bring it down to 3.4 million tons. And so if you look at where we are in 2012 versus where we need to get to, if you actually drew just a straight line between that, by 2025 it'd be approximately a 30% reduction. And so that's really what's under consideration. And so really we had to validate that to say, is that achievable and how can we get there and what would that look like? And so the first step was really developing a 2016 greenhouse gas emissions inventory for a whole city. This is citywide, all residents, all businesses, all our emissions from buildings and transportation. And it's really interesting, a whole report is included in your package, but probably most notable, the very first one is building sector. 23% reduction in greenhouse gases, almost 2 million tons in just a 4-year period. Pretty remarkable. I think it's really something from our city already with the very low energy use in our buildings being in such a mild climate. And so that's a really good news. Transportation, not such good news. It's actually a number of vehicles on the road, the number of trucks on the road, and the vehicle miles traveled. The gasoline use has increased. And so that's gone up by 7.3% in just a 4-year period. So as we look towards long-term goals, the transportation sector definitely something that we need to focus on and look at as set as a priority. And then our waste, because we capture most of our methane emissions from our landfill. We have one of the most effective landfills in North America. So really a 2% reduction on that as well. And as we continue to do waste diversion, that number will continue to reduce our emissions from that as well. So overall, a 7.2% reduction. So really in a 4-year period, a 7% reduction is actually very, very good. And so if you did a trend analysis to say what would happen between 2012 and 2025, 7.2% savings would be approximately 23% reduction in that period. So the question is to go from 23 to 30, what would that take? And if we really focus on what are the highest priority areas, if we just said, look, let's just focus on the really big hitters, the home runs that we would do, there's really just 4 actions that we'd need to take in order to get there to a 30% reduction. The first is to accelerate the uptake of electric vehicles and other encouraging alternative transportation. Electric vehicles certainly emerging, and if we as a city really promote that and increase the uptake, pretty significant improvements in local air quality as well as reduction in greenhouse gas emissions associated with those.
Mayor, can
Please,
I make
Councilman,
a comment on that?
Please.
This morning at TNI, we had a presentation on the technology and how quickly that industry is advancing. We also talked about the downside, how that the negative impact to the city will be less tax, harder to improve roads because their potentials, you could have more vehicles on the road. So I think as we talk about this, it's important that we recognize not everything is glowing positive on this, that there are some challenges that the city needs to recognize. And as we move forward at the environmental improvements we make, we have to also compensate the negative impact it could have on the city. So I don't want to lose sight of that because I think it's extremely important. Gas tax is eliminated because we have electric cars, we have more cars on the road, that's harder on our streets. Will public transportation be impacted? I think there's a lot of items on this list that have to be included in this and researched as we go forth.
Thank you, Councilman. Please.
Excellent comment, thank you. So electric cars, very important going forward, and even as we go to, as they mentioned, driverless cars, like for those to be electric as well, also a very important aspect, and so very important. So let's go. Action number 1. Action number 2, improve efficiency of new and existing buildings. We have, the majority of our buildings are built prior to 2006, so really could be some improvements to our buildings. And this year we're planning on adopting the 2018 or discussing adopting a 2018 building code, updating that from our 2012. And so that as well will improve performance of buildings, increase trees and shade. And so this is really important for both improving walking and biking as well as putting shade on buildings. I know SRP gives out trees to homeowners actually to help them shade their buildings and shade to reduce the energy use within buildings. And then the other option is to increase options for purchase of clean energy, both at the, the home scale, but also certainly even at the large bulk scale, like some real options to do that and make that available to people who want to do that voluntarily. So those 4 key actions could get us to a 30% reduction by 2025. And so the question is really saying, okay, we can do these 4 things, but how would the public respond to that? Which of those options do they like best? What are the if they were supporting those, how much do they like electric vehicles really? And how much of public support trees? And it's really interesting, we developed coolerphoenix.com and sought community feedback. We had, in a 3-month period, at over 1,200 responses online and another 1,800 comments, then a lot of in-person comments as we did boards and commissions and went to various events. And this public dialogue was really interesting, and I think the summary was that it was really inspiring how supportive the community was. We essentially asked them, it was a pretty blank page, what we went to people with. We just said, which idea do you like best? What are you most excited about? What would you like to participate in? It was really an open page for people to kind of provide comment from all different perspectives. And included is the responses that people gave. I included in your package both written comments as well as the online percentages of the various ones. And very interesting, so very inspiring even as what people reported. 91% of those, of sort of the 4,000 respondents, the strategy to double the number of trees in Phoenix is a good idea. Really resonated. It was the most picked idea of that people said were mostly wanted to comment on. 81% think the city adopting most energy efficient building code is a good idea, even if the home costs slightly more. So definitely the public said, no, we recognize that. If things have a 3-year payback, it really makes sense to include those within the building code, those types of things. And then very pertinent to today's conversation, that 90% of people said, I think it is great the City of Phoenix has a long-term goal of 100% clean energy for all homes and businesses. Really interesting. That's, from a survey perspective, that's basically everyone is saying, no, we think this is good. It makes sense, and it really resonates. And so really inspiring kind of reading how the members of the community responded to this. So, these are kind of some of the written and online comments, and we actually have the privilege today of a couple in-person people to come here and present to us. First of all, Lori Singleton. I don't know if many of you know, she was actually voted a few years ago as one of the 50 top influential women in business. And we have the privilege of hearing from her today. So I'll start off by turning it over to you, Lori, and thank you very much for being here.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Nearly 50 years ago, some forward-thinking business and civic leaders realized that shaping the Valley of the Sun and preserving the environment was critical to the future of Phoenix. These leaders, in 1969, formed Valley Forward, now known as Arizona Forward. While I'm here today wearing my Arizona Forward hat, I can also say that SRP heartily supports the efforts by our business customers and our municipalities to establish carbon reduction goals. For more than 3 decades, the City of Phoenix has been a valued Arizona Forward partner. We've tackled many important issues together, from the promotion of light rail to the Grand Canalscape Project, Rio Salado, smart growth, and energy and water conservation. We commend the City of Phoenix for demonstrating leadership and creativity to safeguard the characteristics that make our city, and my city, a great place to live and work. Most recently, the City of Phoenix received 4 Chris Gordy Awards during the Arizona Forward Environmental Excellence Awards program. The city's greenhouse gas emissions reduction program took the top spot in the award for healthy communities. And it's easy to see why jurists selected it. The program is a remarkable step toward a carbon neutral future. We're here to fully support the City of Phoenix in making strides towards its goal of being carbon neutral in 2050 through cleaner transportation, more efficient buildings, clean energy, and more trees and shade. Thank you, Mayor Stanton, members of the council, as well as Ed, Karen, and Mark for leading the way in making Phoenix one of the most sustainable cities in which to live and work.
Thank you very much, Lori, for coming down. Dave, you have anything to add? Good to see you.
Thank you, you too. Good afternoon. As it was stated earlier, I have the privilege of being the chairman of the board this year for Arizona Forward, so certainly carry forward Lori's commending efforts by the city, but I also wanted to be here also as my day job. I am a senior vice president for HDR Engineering, a 11,000-person global engineering company, and we too wanted to come to you and explain what businesses are doing in line with what we're asking to look at today, and that is HDR, as part of our sustainability efforts, have taken on the objective that you're looking at today by reducing our carbon emissions by 20% by 2020. To date, we have, on the same lines as the city, been successful in reducing it already in the first couple of years by about 8 to 9%. So we're on track, and we're encouraged that other municipalities and states are taking on this same ambitious challenge. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I'll now turn over to members of the council. So the recommended interim goal would be 30% by 2025. We've set short-term goals previously, and we've hit all of our goals, and so we keep making it harder and harder, as we should, because we find creative ways to meet those goals. Mark, I have a question. So you said 4 things that we could be doing to kind of meet this more aggressive goal. One of them was more support for the electric car, I would say industry, but more electric cars on our roads. What are some of the ideas from other cities' best practices about what they're doing to better support electric vehicles on their city roads?
One of the most innovative ideas, and we actually piloted it this year, and SRP was a partner in that, in actually making available where we could have discounts, bulk buying of electric vehicles, and offering discounts. And actually, people this year were able to get $17,000 off purchase of a Nissan Leaf. And so we're actually going back to manufacturers. There's actually 20 manufacturers making electric cars this coming year, so really interesting, the number of cars coming on the market. And really want to see how and approach them on offering discount to the community and bulk buying and encouraging people for adoption, as well as increasing the number of electric vehicle charging stations. And so Electrify America, as part of the Volkswagen settlement, has $1.2 billion to add infrastructure. So 11 locations on our major highways in Arizona are going to have major fast charging available in the next few years. So really advancing that. So advancing fast charging and advancing people to purchase electric vehicles. There seemed to be really high interest from the community in wanting to participate.
What about charging stations? Keith, stay on that topic. What are cities doing, as far as you know, to be more supportive of more charging stations? Obviously, the number one place for people to charge up would be at their own home, but obviously, if they drive a lot, they might need places throughout the city. What can the city be doing more to support charging stations at more locations?
Actually, we have a very unique role in Arizona, is that we have workplace charging in Arizona where people could come and charge. We have a lot of surplus power in the afternoons because of a lot of our solar generation. And so it's actually very cost effective to actually be, and would actually be very good for our distribution system. And I think both utilities are very supportive of that strategy as well, and will be very actively wanting to promote and help that. So workplace charging is a really great opportunity to make most efficient use of our grid and very cost effective way to do charging, and kind of eliminating from happening in those peak times, but instead trying to do that during when we have lots of solar power available in the afternoon. So that's the most exciting.
Does our building code support that? Or do we need to do more work in that regard to give, bonus points that we sometimes give for features of a development that advance community interests, in this case, more charging stations at work sites?
Many communities have adopted. It's typically California was the cost to charge electric vehicle in a new home. Electric vehicle charging in a new home was $100 per building, is what the vendors were charging to install electric vehicle charging. So communities are either requiring electric vehicle charging or even just a chase to make it available and say EV ready, so that people could connect it if they wanted to. And so that's probably a best practice where if people actually see, oh, I've already got it in my garage, they'd be much more inclined to say, oh, maybe I will buy an electric vehicle, because they keep seeing it there every day. So that's a really great way to have that in EV-ready home. Very low cost at the time of construction to just run that extra wire into the garage that allows for 220.
Great. All right, and Karen, just one word, trees.
I hear you, Mayor.
What are we doing? I mean, tell me, we have it in our budget, more resources this year, and obviously a lot of the tree focus has been in kind of downtown central Phoenix, but obviously we have to take a citywide approach for putting in more trees so that neighborhoods throughout the city can benefit from that.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Indeed, so in last year's budget, we did reallocate resources so that the city was in a position to replace trees, public trees that we we own that we lose over the course of a year. The city loses about 1,000 trees a year to various causes. You know, they die, or a car runs them over, or there are various issues that sometimes result in a tree having to be removed. But we now are allocating resources to replace those. We're also looking at some revisions to various city ordinances to encourage adequate tree maintenance and replacement of trees that are lost over the course of site plan removal.
Mayor,
Councilwoman Stark, please.
thank you. I did want to speak to that. I think one of the things that happens so often is we do have a fairly decent landscaping ordinance for commercial and various other types of development. The problem is as landscaping grows, it then starts to block signs in the shopping center. So I think as we move, and I think we are looking at an ordinance to address that. So as we move through that, hopefully we'll work with various development organizations like Valley Partnership to make sure that we can really make something work both for them, but really benefit us with good landscaping.
Absolutely, Mayor, Councilwoman Stark, we are working on some draft revisions now that we'll be taking to stakeholders shortly.
Are any other questions or comments? Vice Mayor, please.
Regarding trees, we just did, or several of my constituents did, a whole landscape or evaluation or analyzation of Central, starting from McDowell all the way up, and all the trees that we have lost, not only during the storm, but all the trees, I don't know what exactly happened during the light rail time, but trees are missing from there. The other dynamic about the trees that I'm including this in some conversations was I also did an analysis of our park trees and some of the park trees that are older or we've lost. In that analysis, looking at the parks of really trying to figure out what type of trees provide enough shade, but what type of trees do not need a lot of water. And so I'm hoping that in this discussion, there's that conversation for the future of how we will maintain the trees and water the trees. The third piece is, and this is on our maintenance side, is that what I've noticed on the maintenance side, on the city side, is that some of the outside companies, landscaping companies we have hired have just gone in and butchered our trees and their shrubs. And so now my question to the tree people is, what are we doing now that they're shrubs and they're not growing? How are we going to replace those? So this is a bigger conversation. This is not the conversation right now, but which I would like to have in one of our subcommittees regarding the future and how we go forward. And so those are some of the dialogue I would like to have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor. We are working very closely with the Streets Department regarding the street trees that we've lost over the years, as well as with our Parks Department, not only on adding to the canopy in parks, but guidelines for maintenance, guidelines in terms of species that are used, and so forth. So I'd very much look forward to having that conversation, and I appreciate your raising those really important issues.
Councilor Nowakowski.
So, Mayor, I'd like to see a study on the efficiency of our buildings now and what it would cost to bring them up to standards. Because I think a lot of times we talk about these 4 steps, but what's the price tag behind it? And if we really do believe in it, we should actually allocate some monies in our budgets to make it happen. The other thing is...
You're talking about city-owned buildings or private sector?
City-owned buildings, yeah. So we should be good stewards if we're going to start pushing it on others, right? So the other thing, too, is when we're increasing trees, I know that back in 2010, we cut the maintenance on some of the palm trees and passed it on to the residents, and that became a whole World War III for some of my colleagues up here. So basically, the whole maintenance of those trees, if we're going to put trees up, and especially in the right-of-ways, is it our right-of-way? Are we responsible? And which department is responsible? Because also when we get those calls, we're passing it on to streets, to parks, to all kinds of different departments, and people get frustrated with that, especially when there's a tree that's fallen down or a limb that's fallen down. If it's not in the right of way, but it's hanging over somebody's yard, it's priority for them, but it's not priority for us because it's not in the middle of a road. So things like that. So I think that's great if we're going to go out there and advocate and increase trees, but at the same time have some type of a plan. I know within my homeowners association, the trees have grown now. Our garbage trucks can't get through, so now there's a big war. Is it the association that has to take care of the trees, or is it the owners of the homes that have to trim the trees? So I know that even within homeowners associations, those battles are going on. The other thing too is if we're going to if we're going to encourage people to move to electric cars, what would it cost us to actually have? I know that we have in some of our parking garages where you can actually plug in your cars, but what would it cost to actually have a campaign? I think I'd like to see maybe some dollar signs so we can actually start to look in the future to allocate some funding towards these 4 steps. And the clean energy, I mean, that's something that's great. I think that we should look at incentives for individuals that if it's not purchasing clean energy, but even putting solar panels and heating their waters and stuff like that with solar energy also, and what type of incentives that we can work with the industries that are out there right now to encourage people to actually go out there. And if we are going to create some type of policy on building, new building ordinances and stuff, that we bring in the industry. Because one thing I'm afraid of is that we create some type of ordinance or something that's not cost effective for developers to actually build within our city, and they'll pass us on to go on to another city. But I think if we sit around the table, we can figure out that common ground and figure out those ordinances that would help us out in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman Nowakowski. Excellent comments. Councilwoman Gallego?
Thank you. Thank you for the great update. We've gotten great feedback in our office as Mark and his team have gone around to different village planning commissions and other commissions to provide this update. A lot of people said they didn't realize how much the city was doing on sustainability, and we've gotten great reviews about what we're doing, although people are still trying to push us to do more, which you alluded to in your presentation. People really are taking a pride in our citywide goal to be the most sustainable desert city. It's been exciting to hear the feedback from the community. They like that we have a bold vision and big goals and great partners to get us there. So thank you to the utilities for stepping up, as well as Arizona Forward. Mark forgot it in Lori's introduction, but Lori was my first boss at SRP. I don't know how that didn't make her career highlights. But we got to work on all sorts of great things, from renewable energy for small businesses all the way up to the Super Bowl, and it was very exciting, as well as a lot of work on sustainable transportation. So thank you for helping me get my start in this. And I want to say thank you to Dave and HDR for your partnership. We were talking about the South Central Light Rail today, and that was something HDR really got us started on, as well as some very important larger infrastructure projects being built in Councilman Nowakowski's district and mine. And it's great to see HDR pushing the limit as well with the 20% by 2020. Speaking of big goals, so thank you for your leadership. And I think maybe a month ago, we just voted on the construction contracts for the Grand Canal upgrades, which would not have been, we probably would not have been able to do without the partnership from then Valley Forward, now Arizona Forward. So thank you for your longtime partnership with the City of Phoenix on many very important work, and for recognizing us with those great Concordia Awards and our leadership on a wide variety of things, including green buildings and the work we're doing on energy efficiency. We've had some great departments. The water department really comes to lead, to my mind, when Councilman Nowakowski mentioned energy efficiency and just how much money we have saved for our ratepayers and taxpayers with those investments. They've been smart investments, both from a sustainability point of view, on the environmental side, but also fiscal, where we're really getting some of our best investments of the City of Phoenix, and certainly would like us to continue to look for opportunities in that area. Appreciate Councilwoman Pastor's work on trees, and she called for a subcommittee to look at that. Proud to chair the Sustainability Subcommittee and would love to do more work on that, although it touches just about every subcommittee at the City of Phoenix, but maybe the Sustainability Subcommittee is a good area for work. I had the pleasure of attending some of the Chicago Climate Exchange events. The City of Phoenix won a very prestigious international recognition for our work on sustainability at that event. And great recognition for Mayor Stanton's leadership. But I attended several panels where a lot of mayors were bragging about what they were doing. And one thing that they were doing where I don't know if we've done as much was on battery-related projects. And when you were talking about the sort of excess generation in our afternoons and utilities wanting to partner with us, question maybe for Mark or for Karen, are there any opportunities for us in the storage area, perhaps working with our critical infrastructure as well so that we make sure we always have a reliable power supply?
Yes, absolutely. Batteries are a real game changer, and that will be pretty transformative for the community and actually be a very key part of getting to what it'd be like to be carbon neutral by 2050 would be recognizing that the battery technology is really going to go. It's advancing so quickly and the costs are dropping so rapidly. So it was interesting. We actually asked homeowners if you could buy a battery for $1,000 for your home and it would save your electricity bill $300 a year, would you want to do that? And in the 85% said absolutely. So it was really interesting that people were really recognizing and looking at sort of the benefits and open to technologies to help do that. So it's not there yet today, but would very much be in the future, and it would be very much received by our community. It could be pretty transformative.
Wonderful, very exciting. And we're certainly doing a lot on cutting edge technology. On the Shen subcommittee, we're very much looking forward to the solar energy RFP that we're going to be putting out soon. So lots of exciting things to come. Several of us attended the governor's State of the State yesterday, and he spoke a little bit about sustainable transportation for schools and green buses. And I was looking as we move forward with the Volkswagen settlement, if we could also partner with our school districts and make sure that what we do in our transit investments as well reflect the need that and the unfortunate trend on the transportation side of the increase in emissions. So would love to see us to continue to invest in that particular area. And then this meeting was very timely as well. On Monday, the National Oceanic Administration came out with a report saying that 2017 was the most expensive year on record for natural disasters in the country, $306 billion, so real economic impact. Those are scary numbers for any municipal or state or federal budget and a real impact on our community. So I think anytime we talk about climate change, we also should always bring up both mitigation and adaptation. I talk a lot about the need to invest in infrastructure, including flood control infrastructure, and I just think we can't talk about that often enough because, again, we have billions of dollars of need in this community, and we have to continue as elected officials to push in that particular area. So sorry to end on a down note, but I do think it's important that we continue that conversation because it is pretty stark numbers out there this year.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Any other comments or questions? She did reference the Criscordia Award for folks at home. That's the very prestigious awards presented by Arizona Forward for cities engaging in environmentally friendly or sustainable projects. It's sort of like the Academy Awards for city folks. Phoenix wins more awards than any other city, but only about half as many as we deserve. But that's all. All right. Leonard Clark, you have testimony on this item, please.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. It's really, I'm very thankful for the fact that I can speak before government of representatives in a country that I'm not going to hopefully be arrested for, as of yet. I just strongly thank you for doing what you're doing. I know I'm like a critic a lot of what you do, but I'm not popular because I thank you now. That's why I'm not popular. I'll thank you for when you do things that are good. This is very important. A report came out last year called The Uninhabitable Earth. It wasn't some out there eccentric professor about, well, the title says it all, The Uninhabitable Earth. As you know, Vice News, and I know all of us already think this sometimes in the middle of summer, but it was the title, something from Vice News was, Phoenix is going to be unlivable, okay? But, right now on the front of the LA Times, they're showing that at least 8 people have died in Southern California from these floods. The weather is going back and forth now. They're saying on HuffPost that it's snowing in parts of the Sahara Desert. There's another report out from, I think, a science magazine, it might be Popular Science, that Alaska, the climate is changing, not just the weather, the climate is changing, that the algorithms the scientists are using are not working anymore. They're trying to keep up with it. So I have great hope. I think that Phoenix should be the leader. We are the Abu Dhabi of sunlight, and we should also be utilizing the trees, because quite honestly, that little freeway that leads out, every time there's one accident on I-17 and people want to go to Flagstaff or whatever, you have to wait for hours. And I'm telling you, we can laugh about it now, but I predict if we don't start doing something, not just in the city, but across the country and the world, even though our current chief executive mocks global warming, it's going to be really hard getting out of this city. It's going to be like a run on the bank, because once people start deciding it's too hot to live in Phoenix, then forget it. So please do this. This is an emergency. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now turn to member of council. If there's a motion on our staff recommendation as it relates to our interim goal on greenhouse gas reduction goal. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
There's a motion and a second. Any additional final comments? Is this roll call or all in favor say aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Next item on our agenda, I think, is also Ms. Peters' item. It's your lucky day. The next item concerns preparation, if you can believe it, for the 2020 census. We're already starting to think about this now. We haven't put together our committee yet, but we're starting to think about how Phoenix gets as many of our citizens counted as possible for the census, which is only a few years away. Ms. Peters. This is not an action item, just a information item, please.
That's correct. Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. The census is coming. Census Day is going to be April 1st of the year 2020. Bless you. So today, we'd like to give you an overview of what's to come with the census. At the table with me today is Clark Princell, Government Relations Manager. Clark is working with the Census Bureau and the Maricopa Association of Governments, as well as other regional partners, to coordinate the region's activities regarding the census, to ensure that best practices are implemented and that coordination is taking place among all the various levels of government. Also with me today is Adam Miller, Planning and Development Team Leader assigned to Growth and Infrastructure. Adam serves as the city's liaison with the Census Bureau for the local update of census addresses, or LUCA, L-U-C-A. LUCA represents the first activity that occurs in preparation for the 2020 count. So Adam will be working with regional partners and the Census Bureau throughout the process to ensure that Phoenix has the most complete and up-to-date address list that will be used to send census notices to Phoenix residents. Lastly, joining us in the audience from the Census Bureau is Fred Stevens, Partnership Specialist for the 2020 Census. Thank you, Fred, for being here today. So, what is the census? The census is a count required by the United States Constitution of everyone residing in the United States, each 10 years or decennial. The count is for people of all ages, and for citizens and non-citizens. So man, woman, and child, if you live in the United States, you are to be counted under the census. The census questionnaire this year will be a very short one, or this census in 2020, asking only a few questions, and should be a very easy, short undertaking for our residents. So I'm going to turn it over to Clark to provide the overview of what's to come with Census 2020.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. Census Day will be April 1st, 2020. The census and a complete count is important as it directs the allocation of billions of dollars in government funding. Phoenix could lose up to $23,000 in funding over the next 10 years for each Phoenix resident not counted. What's different for Census 2020? In 2010, each household received a physical questionnaire which was to be completed and mailed in. Reminders were mailed to each household. Multiple in-person follow-ups were conducted to non-respondent households, and questionnaires could not be completed online. In 2020, each household will receive electronic submittal instructions, similar to the city's recent dependent eligibility verification audit for employees. 2 reminders will be mailed between April and June. A physical questionnaire will be delivered only if households are non-responsive, and fewer in-person follow-ups will occur due to the use of real-time data and government and third-party information. The intent of the Census Bureau is to encourage all respondents to complete electronic submissions. A census test in 2015 of electronic submissions resulted in an 80% response rate for the city of Chandler, a 72% response rate in the city of Mesa, and a 50% response rate in the city of Phoenix.
Mayor, council members, I think this really illustrates the challenge and the reason why we're here to start so early, why I think the Census Bureau starting early is particularly in a central city like Phoenix, making sure that everyone responds, has a chance to respond, understands how to respond, is really critical to our financial well-being, just to put it at that level. As an example, last year, this mayor and council really supported our efforts to ensure that the mid-decade census was done in a way that treated Phoenix fairly. And a result of the line that we held, we have increased our share of state shared revenues because our numbers hold well within the county. And so these numbers are very concerning to us as staff and really lays out the marker for what we all want to work towards, which is to get Phoenix's response rate numbers as high as any other city or higher in the state.
Councilwoman, please.
How are they going to send notice electronically? What if you don't have a computer? I mean, I mean, there are still people who don't have computers.
There's a huge digital divide issue. That's one of the challenges.
Right.
It's one of the reasons why our census has to be fully funded in Congress. Obviously, that may be one of the recommendations that we add support for fully funding the Census Bureau well in advance of 2020. It's going to be a huge community education effort, that be a part of our legislative agenda. But I don't think anyone in this room is naive to the fact that there will be huge digital divide issues, particularly in communities of color.
Mayor, Councilwoman Stark, I would add that the idea of electronic submissions is one that's been discussed for many years, but as technology improves, it becomes easier and easier and more efficient. In fact, the questionnaire will be something that residents can fill out using mobile devices, which is going to be a very important component of what those submissions look like, and our outreach will be in assisting people not only to navigate to a computer, a public computer, but also to make sure that they understand that they can use their phones to complete the questionnaires.
And it speaks to why the Complete Count Committee and all the efforts that have gone in are going to be so critical, using our libraries, using our senior centers, using all of our city resources to bridge the digital divide, as the mayor says, is going to be a huge task for us as a central city.
But there's no substitute for a Census Bureau person knocking on doors more than once, because people often aren't home, may not answer the door, and it's critical that they don't have questions on the questionnaire that scare people off, which also may scare off certain populations. So it's a real challenge that we have,
correct,
as a country, we have to get right, and we're not there yet, but that's why we're getting started so early. Other comments or questions? Okay, more information, please, Clark.
The Complete Count Committee is a committee comprised of community members and stakeholders who work to maximize participation in the census. The Complete Count Committee is a Census Bureau best practice to encourage participation, and Phoenix has established Complete Count Committees for past census efforts. The Complete Count Committee is charged with developing and implementing a locally based outreach and awareness campaign to identify, speak to, and engage our local community. The Complete Count Committee consists of community leaders and stakeholders, including interests in media, schools, businesses, communities of faith, and community organizations. Moving forward, critical dates for the 2020 census are: spring of 2018, Complete Count Committee is established and receives training from the Census Bureau. Early 2019, the Census Bureau opens local office. March 2020, electronic submittal instructions are delivered and campaign efforts are in full swing. April 1st of 2020 is Census Day, and then April through July of 2020, non-response follow-up will occur.
Mayor and members of the council, as you indicated, this is not an action item, but it is a very important update, and we will be working with you and everyone on the council to think about establishing our Complete Count Committee and making sure that our community is well represented and that we have access to all the resources that we will need to make this a successful count in Phoenix.
Thank you very much. Mr. Leonard Clark, you have testimony on this item?
Thank you, Mayor and Council Member. My name is Leonard Clark. I was born here in Phoenix, and I've always been concerned about making sure our city, the 5th largest city in the United States of America, gets its proper share of funding for our residents. I remember one of the reasons I got involved as an activist in Glendale was some of my family who were from Mexico stated that the census was being conducted, but yet there were immigration officers over at Food City. Now, you may say, Mr. Clark, that's not what this is about. I feel it is germane, so what I would ask is, as a resident concerned that our city gets its share of funding, is that the Census Bureau somehow work, well, it's not fair, but our city work with the Census Bureau and somehow, ask them to work with the ICE to not be scaring our residents, because as you know, there's a lot of panic going on with our DACA and now our Salvadoran beautiful brothers and sisters that live here. So when that time comes and the census comes, somehow I'm hoping there can be a large campaign. And I gotta admit, the mayor is right. He said something that very well impressed me, and that is we have to have proper funding.
Could you repeat that?
I will repeat this. That what the mayor said was very correct. I was impressed. Basically, that we have to have proper funding for the census, or our city is going to be shortchanged, and we don't want that. And people need not to be afraid. And very impressed that the Council Lady Stark and the mayor brought up the whole huge concern of the digital divide. But don't worry, you won't like what I say when I talk about bringing our own internet infrastructure soon. We will be bringing that to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments from members of the council at this time? Councilman Gallego, please.
Thank you. My first year on the council, we learned an important lesson about how much the census tracts really impact businesses. So there are certain businesses that, for example, participate in federal programs, and they have to be perhaps in a low to moderate income area. Will we work with the community economic development folks and others who might be aware of what programs people and businesses participate in, and make sure that we're very cognizant as we advise and see lines of what the impacts will be?
Mayor, Councilwoman Gallego, thank you for asking that question. In fact, we are working with our Community and Economic Development Department specifically on issues around the boundaries of some of the census tracts and related issues. We have established a staff steering committee that includes multiple departments, including CED, to identify these issues and work on them going forward. So thank you for asking.
Thank you.
I'd just also add, not quite the census tract, but really what Adam and all of Alan's staff are doing, really technical but important. That's to make sure that the Census Bureau knows where all of our addresses are in the Census Bureau's database. That's very technical, but in a fast-growing city like Phoenix, it's really critical what Adam and his team are doing to make sure they know where new subdivisions are, new streets, new addresses, and getting those into the Census Bureau. It's something that we don't sort of pay attention to, but that work behind the scenes is really going to be important for us, in addition to the other work that you mentioned.
We also need to make sure that our business community is well aware of how this could impact them as well. Obviously, our healthcare institutions, particularly those that serve a high Medicaid eligible population, will be impacted. Transportation dollars, some of our major transportation projects, our ability to get federal grants will be directly impacted by the success of this, of our census efforts. Housing folks that are maybe want to help their residents with light heat money, low-income energy assistance programs, all in part are formulaic based on population. There's many, many, many more, but
State shared revenue, in fact.
state share revenue certainly at the local level. Councilman Williams, please.
I want to make sure that we express to outside agencies the fact that a zip code doesn't mean that's a city. That's within our boundaries. I'm very concerned because I know we have Scottsdale, we have Glendale, and I'm not sure of others. But it's caused us problems on tax collection in the past, and I want to make sure it doesn't interfere with our census count.
That's a technical issue, but I think obviously that's good to flag that early. Any other comments or questions by members of this council? Again, this is just for information discussion. If you have ideas of folks that should serve on the census committee, please send it my way. At some point, you'll be seeing a list of the names of a proposed committee. It's going to be a lot of work, so don't lead anyone astray that if you choose this particular committee, it's going to be around for a while and it's going to be a lot of work. With that, our meeting is adjourned.